Hi, I'm Dr. Liz, and welcome to the garden where all things grow under the sun. Today, I want to talk about multiple forms of self expression. Now, we can go about that multiple ways. We could express ourselves either through our words, through our actions, and sometimes through our creative outlets. So, some people find it very useful, helpful to be able to express themselves verbally by either talking to a therapist or mental health provider. Some people like to speak with family members or maybe someone that they look up to in a religious community. Other people find support in talking with their friends. But what happens when you don't have the words yet, or maybe you have the words, but you don't have the person that you feel comfortable sharing those words with? There are other forms of self expression. And my hope is that you will explore and figure out what avenues are helpful to you. It really depends on the individual. Not one thing is going to fix all for everyone, but there are so many different ways that you can explore some of those thoughts that you have, whether they be conscious or unconscious, and allow them to flow through. Oftentimes, I see a lot of youth who are unable to describe their thoughts and feelings. All they know is that they either feel way too much and they need to shut down those feelings, or they feel nothing at all. And that's problematic. We need to do a better job in teaching our youth how to allow things to flow through as more of a routine basis so that they don't get so overwhelmed with thoughts and feelings that they have no idea how to release them. So, here's some ideas. Some people find their therapy by either creating or moving or a combination of both. So let's talk about creating. Now we're talking about things along the lines of the arts. You can create with creative writings by creating your own stories, by creating your own poems. You could even write little things that you find to be funny to others. So maybe you're a comedian. You could also be a creator in a sense that you enjoy the the dramatic arts, the performing arts. Maybe you love to be on stage. Maybe you love to be on your own stage and you don't enjoy the idea of people watching. Here's the trick to that. When you're on a stage, it feels like no one's watching, especially when the lights are bright enough. And there are other ways too, as well, like dancing, singing, so many creative outlets, drawing, maybe even creating something digitally through graphic design. Those are just to name a few. You might even have ideas that are better than mine. I'm sure you can come up with something better than I can, especially if you're a creator, which we all are. We all have energy and we all can make use of that energy. It's just that sometimes we don't always understand in what ways we should or could do that. Now, let's talk about movement. Now, some of us find therapy in movement, and we're talking about our runners, we're talking about our athletes, we're talking about the people who just like to walk in nature. And you may find that while there are thoughts that are in your head, whether they be conscious or unconscious, they might get stuck in there until you start getting some movement going. Some people are able to get their movement through lifting weights. Maybe they see themselves on a baseball diamond, and when they throw the ball, they can feel that energy traveling from their shoulders all the way down to the wrist and through to the ball. There are some people who find that energy in pacing their breath when they're running long distances or even short sprints. There are all kinds of ways that you can move, and it can allow you to allow that self expression to come through. But these are not things that we look at in these ways. We typically tend to think that everything has to come forth by utilizing specific feelings words. And oftentimes, feelings words are encouraged in therapy. But sometimes you have the words, sometimes there are not enough words to describe exactly what's going on inside of you. So, my advice to you is to trust what you feel on the inside. And when you trust what you feel on the inside, whether it be act, create, and act at the same time, then next thing you know, those words just start to flow through, whether you realize or not. And it would be nice if when those words flow through that there was somebody there that could be there to listen. But sometimes there isn't always. And you have to be your own listener and pay attention to the things that are coming through for you. And when you have that moment of peace, then you gain a greater understanding on what it is that you're feeling, what it is that's impacting you, and maybe you can get to the why. The why always comes later. We'll talk about the why later.